Our entire brand architecture is built on possibilities and not vulnerabilities. We celebrate possibilities of life. None of the campaign in the last 5 years that we've done is about showing a guy in hospital. 90% of my campaigns is showing people having fun. It is not about people in hospital. Even in hospital, they are having fun.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Big Brand Bets. And today I have with me Nimish Agrawal. He's a CMO of Niva Bupa Health Insurance, and he's going to give us some interesting insights on how health insurance has become a topic for dinner table conversations, something most people wouldn't have thought about a few years ago. So, hi Nimish, thank you so much for taking the time to speak
Thank
to
you so
us.
much for inviting me.
So,
Thank you.
if I'm not mistaken, Nimish, from since May 2025, you wear two hats,
Yeah.
right? The first one is that of a CMO, and the second one is managing the digital PNL.
Yeah.
So, what marketing decisions have now become harder because growth, margins, and conversion accountability basically sit on the same table for you?
I think a lot has changed, but one thing that is much harder than it was earlier is about trade offs. So, earlier, as a chief marketing officer, my way of evaluating a campaign performance was based on what is the reach, frequency, cut through rate, engagement rate, um, and that and how much of Google searches is a campaign able to drive, and if there is incremental lift to traffic on our website. But that's where I used to stop. Now, because there is digital panel with me as well, one thing that I'm very conscious is that what happened after the traffic. Did a lead got converted? If a lead got converted, how much business happened? And when I started looking at that data, some of the vanity campaigns I've consciously pulled back on. So I'll give you an example. We were doing a reasonable amount of campaigns on live sports because live sport, as everybody knows, drives a lot of eyeballs, etc. But what happens is a lot of traffic comes in a very short span of time, and because this category is not DIY, 98% of the consumer require a tele assistance, and the tele centers are not able to manage that traffic well. And it's important because speed is the currency of conversion, and you talked about conversion. So if you're not able to speak to them given a certain amount of time, then your ability to convert them is pretty bad. So now we do drip marketing. We've moved away, consciously cut down some of our spend. I wouldn't say all of our spend, but some of our spend wherein we are able to do slow burn of advertising impression compared to big bang advertising that we were traditionally doing. So the accountability within the marketing team and the digital sales team to work together, and the trade-offs that we make have become harder. So that's one thing that's become really hard.
So when you say that the trade-offs have become harder, can you again give another instance? I'm asking for the simple reason marketing comes up with a lot of ideas, right?
Yeah.
And then digital also comes up with a lot of dashboards and
Yeah.
data stacks. And there is bound to be some kind of a conflict. So how is it that you ensure that the creativity at no point in time is not obliterated, and at the same time it has a kind of trade-offs that you expect in terms of conversions, in terms of footfalls, in terms of conversations with your DSAs?
So very interesting question. I think it's important to nurture the long term and also hunt in the short term. Both of them are equally important. So what we've done, and we've done this about 6 months back. You know, the first 5 6 months we were trying to figure out what will be the right ways of working. But about 5 6 months back, we've taken the marketing team and the digital team, and we have created a uh, common budget, which we call the integrated media budget. Now, there is a budget that is available completely at the creative team or the marketing team's discretion. And there's a budget that is completely at the discretion of my performance marketing team, which drives the traffic and the business that my digital sales team looks at. And we've taken because the consumer who's searching for your category is also watching the World Cup, is also traveling in a metro, and hence there is non-linearity. And hence it is important for us to harness that non-linearity, and we've created another kitty. Now, it's important that we continue to take big bets around creative expression of insurance because that's something where the category lacks a lot. The category continues to be woven in the codes of hospitalization. Somebody getting detected a disease that they have not heard of. And that's not the DNA of the category. Health insurance is for healthy people, it's not for sick people. But that myth continues to be with the category. So it's important for us to find an expression that's going to convert this entire category into a belief system. And that's what marketing completely owns and holds. For that, they don't have to move any dashboard. They have to have belief. Of course, there's a set of KPIs that we look at, and there is a set of money which is lying and the set of ideas that is lying with the performance marketing team. They want to do something on programmatic. They want to do some experiment with Google team, Meta team, completely their call. And this set of money which never existed. And we said it's important that we also have shared responsibility. Because if I were to merge completely, business trumps marketing every day. And I know that I've been a marketing guy for a very, very long time. And I said it is important that business doesn't trump marketing every time. And hence we've created a common kitty. Now, in this common kitty, there's interesting fights that happen every day. It is about experiment that is being done on Meta with influencers. How much traffic have they got to the website, the quality of the traffic, and the conversion that has happened. So this is how we've kind of figured out a way to accept the divergence and inherent conflict, because the sales team wants business today, the marketing team is building the brand for the long term. So somewhere they meet, and we've structured it in a manner that there is a common KPI, there's a common budget which each of the teams can tap into depending upon who has the best idea, and there is a common KPI.
So you used a very interesting term, which is a creative expression, right, in this particular category. And you spoke about the fact that health insurance is not necessarily tied to hospitalization, which is how it's often communicated to consumers, but how health insurance is actually for people who are healthy, right? So how do you translate that into something which is not just easy for a consumer to understand, but will also drive tangible results? Because many consumers still think that when you think of health insurance, it is something I'm going to take when I'm going to fall ill.
See, it's a the category has been in existence for over 50 years, but it has always the codes of marketing have been around fear mongering, complexity. If you can't convince them, confound them. So complexity with a lot of manufacturer induced nomenclatures that exist in the category. And the third bit is this entire conversation around hospitalization and hospital bed. It's like asking a healthy person, what kind of coffin would you want? What will be the quality of cloth, right? It's very difficult as Indians to go down that path. We are a country whose second nature is investment and growth. Protection and spending money because something happens to us is not our second nature. And we are also very belief based ecosystem. We feel that we've manifested this for ourselves. And hence, it's important that uh, we set this right, but it will not happen overnight. Uh, when we transitioned our brand from Max Bupa to Niva Bupa, we did a lot of brand work. We engaged a couple of consultants, we did a lot of consumer work, and we said it was COVID also at that point in time. So we said that we should stand for something meaningful. Some of the other popular brands in at that point in time, also today, their tagline is health insurance expert. So it's coming from a very manufacturer's view, and we said that we should have something which is coming from consumer end, and then that's when we kind of nailed our proposition to zindagi ko claim kar le, because health insurance is about living and enjoying the beauty of life. And you make a conscious planning that in case you fall ill, you get the best hospital, you don't have to worry about money, you only have to worry about recovery, because that's what it is supposed to be. But since you don't plan like that, there is a trauma of being sick and there's a trauma of financial burden that you're putting on the family. So that's what we stand for. Our entire brand architecture is built on possibilities and not vulnerabilities. We celebrate possibilities of life. None of the campaign in the last 5 years that we've done is about showing a guy in hospital. 90% of my campaigns is showing people having fun. It is not about people in hospital. Even in hospital, they are having fun. There are one or two creatives that are in hospital, but they're smiling because the bills are paid, etc., etc. Because that's the possibility that is important to be sold. Then selling the hospital bed. I think the healthcare system is doing a great job of its own. But what we've done this year is that we have ignited this thinking in the larger insurance ecosystem, which is the General Insurance Council. I'm part of the four-member team which has built this campaign called Acha Kiya Insurance Liya. And the same belief is in that campaign that insurance has to be reinforcement of a great decision done. And the campaign is also live and it's got very good feedback from various quarters. But it would require us to shake this for a consistent period of time. And after that, it'll become second nature.
So you mentioned about a few things. One is that you mentioned about the fear, all right, and then you mentioned about the fact of manifestation. You mentioned about how jargon heavy this particular sector is. But there's yet another aspect that I have noticed, which is pricing. So a lot of these campaigns also do comparative analysis of X versus Y versus Z to promote whichever brand that is there, and this price comparison can also become very perplexing for the consumers. So do you think education and consultants, a very consultative approach can actually outperform pricing because it becomes a more scalable growth lever? And if you do so, do you have any data that suggests that is true?
It's very, see, the entire insurance ecosystem works on advisory model. Whether you're buying it from a website, but even on website, somebody will call you. It's a tele-assisted or a bank relationship manager assisted or a agent advisor assisted model. The reason why I'm not a big fan of pricing conversation. The reason I'm not a big fan of pricing conversation is because it's not that insurance is expensive, and there are many research which says that affordability is the biggest concern, but pricing is not the solution. The problem with the insurance is people don't understand the relevance and the benefit of insurance because it's an intangible product. Uh, and what advisory brings, it moves beyond the sticker price. It's almost like a consultancy. It's about understanding what is your medical condition, what is your long term goal, how much is your income, what is your disposable income, and hence what kind of coverage you should take. And in the digital panel, I have got a 150-member team which does direct conversation. These are employees of the company which do direct face-to-face conversation with the customer, and their ticket size is 2.5 times of my tele team. So if a telecaller is selling a 30,000 rupee policy to a family, their ticket size is willy-nilly above 45,000. This is a real data point that shows that a face-to-face advisory conversation uh, moves the ticket size, which also shows that the customer is not price sensitive because the customer doesn't have any other parameter to compare. So the level of comparison is at surface level. And if you're advertising a sticker price, then that becomes the benchmark for the customer. But when you set him down and you say, this is what it is, this is your family condition, this is what our recommendation is, and these are the other pricing that available in the market, willy nilly, the customer chooses a higher ticket size.
So this 150 member team that are there, they are actual business converters, or are they lead generators for your DSAs?
They are business converters. So
So
the way
would
this model works is the customer comes to our website and he speaks to a telecaller, and the telecaller figures out that the customer is more comfortable in having a face-to-face conversation. Different consumers are at different life stage of interacting with the category. Some have understood everything and want to buy. Some are window shopping and want to take more time. And some want to understand, but they are not very comfortable speaking to somebody on a telephone. So they insist, can somebody come to my house? And we say, yes, sir. We have got in 18 cities in the country, we've got our own employees who go and meet customers with a brochure, etc., and all of that. And so that's how so they're business converters. The business generators or the lead generators in our parlance is essentially the website and the telecalling team.
So would this also not end up cannibalizing your channel partners? You know, your service agents who go out and also sell your products?
No, it doesn't. So, are there overlaps? Yes, there are overlaps. But if you look at the size of the pie, India has about 400 million customers, which Niti Aayog describes as missing middle. There are 40 crore Indians who don't have any kind of health insurance. The retail health insurance penetration in the country is single digit. So there are enough people out there who could benefit. Typically, cannibalization and conflict happens when the market is saturated. When the market is growing at 15 to 18% per annum, not many categories in our country today are growing at 15, 18% per annum, right? And Niva Bupa has been growing roughly two times the market growth rate. So when there is growth happening, people are not worried about conflict. That's one. Second is the way the business model is set up for an agent ecosystem, they get the customers through their referral network, through their word of mouth, and through whatever marketing engine that they deploy. And the way these people get leads or intent is they come to website. They look at a campaign probably, or they come to the website, they drop an intent, then a qualification conversation happens with the telecaller. So the funnels are different. Are there some conflicts? Yes, there are conflicts. I spoke to an agent, then I went to company's website. But we are able to figure out what was the conflict at origin, and then we pass credit internally so that there is confidence in the ecosystem and not conflict.
So I believe there was an internal survey that Niva Bupa had done, which showed that many agents that you have, they either never sold a policy or they dropped out early. And then there was a rebranding exercise where you decided to call your agents as health captains. So you're just mentioning about a point where there can be a certain amount of friction. So how has this rebranding really helped in ensuring that that particular channel, which has always been the traditional channel before digital became so important, is it remains without friction, it remains well oiled, it continues to generate, like you said, double the industry average, probably more so in terms of activation, sales velocity, and retention.
See, 75% of the retail business comes from agents in this entire industry. So they are essentially the backbone of the industry. And when the regulator says that insurance for all by 2047, it is important that this ecosystem grows. Even if from while digital is growing faster, but it is not at a critical size right now. If we really want to get all Indians covered under the ambit of insurance, then it is important that the largest channel continues to become stronger. Now, the survey that you mentioned, you're absolutely right. Uh, uh, See the way this industry works, and this is not true just for Niva Bupa, but from all companies, because that's a agent life cycle. We acquire 100, 65 of them do something, and 35 of them actually become inactive. After becoming an agent with the company, having a code with the company, they don't do anything. Within the 65 that actually sold one policy, about 35%, another 35% of them, they do not sell another policy. They just stop at one policy. And we do periodic dipsticks with this lot. And one thing that's been coming up in two, three surveys, and that's where we see that it's not an anomaly, it's a trend, and we need to investigate this trend. And we did that. So, what came out is some people were not interested in the insurance business. At that point in time, it sounded like a good idea. But when they got into the category and they figured out the complexity in the category, the amount of products, the literature around claims, hand-holding customers at the time of hospitalization, is that they felt no, this is not for them. It requires a certain amount of commitment around time. The second set of people are people who ran out of their natural market. I knew you, I thought you can buy a policy. So I sold you. After that, I don't know him. I don't know anybody else in the room. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the confidence to go and talk to them. And we said, probably not the first one, but the second one we can solve for. And of course, there was third, which was people had some adverse experience on claims and they were not sure. One of their claims got rejected or some queries came in, and that shook their entire confidence. Because India is a large country, and many of these agents they are in tier two, tier three cities. They don't have the right ways to reach out to the management team, the experts, raise their concerns, and we felt this is also something that we can solve for. And we took the study, but we did a large pivot. We said it's not just that. Let's look at people who are doing good business with the company. How do they feel about themselves? Some of these people also do business for other companies. They felt that it is a good revenue. There is respect, but the respect is localized. Not many people know us. Our kids don't want to follow behind us. Doctor ka beta doctor, lawyer ka beta lawyer, actor ka beta actor. But that's not true for our profession. I'm making good money, but my daughter wants to go to Bangalore and work for 25,000 rupees in a IT company, and I'm telling her that I do great, not just monetarily, but I also help a lot of families. You inherit this book after I'm gone. You will continue to serve these customer, and it's a noble thing. But my daughter is not listening to me because she thinks that being an agent is not a great thing. So we did a big strategic pivot this year. We said it's time that we do something around the agents, not just around brand Niva Bupa. So we said, okay, there was a time when we would call agents. From agents, the industry started calling them advisor. The next big thing could be health captains, and there was a lot of study behind, because a advisor not just advises you around policy, but once the policy has been bought, they spend a lot of time. They become friends of yours. You have a chest pain, they'll tell you which doctor to go to and where to take a second medical opinion from, because that's what they do day in day out, and they have reasonable amount of medical knowledge. So we've created a platform where they can upgrade their medical knowledge even more. We can't give them doctor degrees, but we could give the next best thing, which is we tell them what are the best doctors in your town, what are the best hospitals, what kind of surgery costs are there. If this disease happens, then who's the specialist in this city? So we built this entire ecosystem on our mobile application for advisors. And we've said that from health advisors, we should call them health captains. And we did a lot of work. There are a couple of interesting films that we launched for them. And these films actually come from their true life. How does an advisor sacrifice his or her own personal time to make time for servicing these people when they are at a vulnerable moment? There are many stories, and that's what we did. In addition to this, we launched a platform called Insurance Academy, India's first di- uh, digital insurance academy, health insurance academy, which we did with Economic Times. And there's a lot of material that we've uploaded. This is about how to market yourself, because that was one problem that came in. It is about the benefits of the industry, products, claims, third module, and the fourth module is around digital marketing. And we've launched this about, I think, 3 months back. We've got close to about 5 lakh sessions, about 10,000 registrations. 5,000 people have already certified themselves on different modules. And this is something that we intend to, and this is not restricted to Niva Bupa. You said, because if India were to become completely um, covered under the ambit of health insurance, we can't keep this to ourselves. We can't be so myopic. So it's free of cost. Anybody can certify themselves. They have to do a certain kind of module, certain kind of rigor. And we have this health captain program, which is also going in, which is about giving them a certain kind of knowledge to know about medical terms.
Okay, and how has this campaign, or rather this initiative, actually helped you in retain a lot of this? Like you said, 35% of those people who sign up probably don't do anything, or they run out of their natural habitat, contacts. So, how has taking this initiatives ensured that they are a lot more productive and they also learn how to identify new customer bases themselves?
So it's a set of hits and misses. Okay, we are not trending in the KPI that we hoped we will. So what has worked for us? There is engagement. There is traction on the concept. Our attrition, which is called the infant mortality, people come to our business and they don't do anything. That has gone down couple of points. Hmm? But we were hoping for better. Retention is a slightly long-term metric because this is launched 3 months back, so retention metric is not very relevant here. But what we felt is we did launch in head office. We did celebrate this in 15 cities, but we did it once. It's a habit formation. And because we work with close to 1.5 2 lakh, sorry, 2.5 lakh agents, we'll have to continue to talk about this at every possible opportunity for a longer period of time. Something David Ogilvy said is that, as marketers, we got we get bored of our own stimuli much before the consumers do. So as marketer, we launch something, a fantastic concept, 3-4 महीने हो गए, then we said चलो कुछ नया करते हैं. But 3-4 months is not enough for it to percolate down the long chain that you have. And you have to get it 25 times. That's the thumb rule. If you're not talking about it 25 times to one person, it's not going to stick. And it's new to the industry. So what we have promised in the next year plan is that we will not do anything else. We will only do this. And it may not sound fancy, but if we really want to move the needle, then it has to be like that.
Okay, that sounds good. In fact, I'm guessing all these initiatives that you have undertaken is the reason why your digital is growing 2 to 2.5x faster than the business, right? I'm guessing. And if that is so, then besides, ensuring that you have the constant engagement with the consumers and the constant engagement with the agents, how has it also improved the quality of the conversations that you have with the consumers and also reach those kind of consumers that probably were never on your radar? You mentioned about tier 2 city and tier 3 city consumers, right? For whom healthcare and health insurance is an afterthought. So, how have initiatives like this, and especially going deeper into digital, helped in having better conversations and conversions?
See, on the conversation front, um, we're doing a lot from our tech stack standpoint. As an organization, we've made a heavy investment in a AI-based dialer capability. Now, what it does is, as a telecaller, if I've because health insurance rarely gets sold in one conversation. One conversation could have happened on call, another could have happened on WhatsApp, third could have happened on an email where you sent him the quotation for a product, etc. It does a good job of summarization. So as a customer, when you're speaking to me, Nimish, as a telecaller, I would remember what you've done, and that's very important. That personalization and that memory to be built in the system is very important. The customer feels valued. How irritating it is if you were to talk to a telecaller and says, "Yes, sir, आपका नाम क्या है?" The boss has spoken to you 5 times. We exchange emails. How can you ask my name? uh, the telecalling business doesn't have the warmth of face to face. So these things are important for customer. If I were to say, "Hi, madam, we've spoken. I've sent an email to you, and you dropped me a WhatsApp that you were busy. So I'm reaching out to you again. Do you have 5 minutes? Can we have a conversation?" That is very important for the customer because the customer wants to be heard. He wants that you understood his condition, and there is no element of mis-selling could be a possibility. So we've made a big investment. And now what we are doing is we are summarizing this for the telecaller, multimodal summarization, ability, multimode outreach to the telecaller. He can't use his mobile phone. He has to use the dialer capability to send a WhatsApp, email, etc. And another important to lift the quality of conversation that you refer to is it's important for the telecaller to learn from his own conversation. So there's a lot of speech to text analysis and real-time customer sentiment analysis. There's a large language model that is at the back end, and it can sense change in voice of the customer, certain words that are used, and tell the telecaller that it's a red, the customer is not happy. And when the red flashes, the telecaller's boss, the team lead, he will get into a conference. He said, "My name is Nimish. The colleague works with me. How can I help you today?" Now the customer sees a change in authority, and usually they become at ease. Okay, okay, now somebody higher in authority has come. Maybe he will be able to answer me better. So we've made this investment and we are going through a learning journey. There are some great things that we've been able to accomplish, and there are few things that are in pipeline. But our intent is, how can the telecalling conversation look like a conversation between two, not friends, but a conversation that has got a lot more trust, a conversation that is not dependent on the telecaller but on a process, and feels a lot more intuitive. One thing that we're also building on this large language model is a sales assist, almost like a sales co-pilot. And it will help the co-pilot will nudge the telecaller. This is the next statement that you should make, this is the next statement that you should make, depending upon the context. And what we've injected is 5,000 best calls. We do 23 lakh calls in a month. We're a large ecosystem.
So you're doing this for the telecalling team that you have. Do you plan to also roll out something like this on your app, which your agents can do? Because at some point in time, they are the first customer interface,
You're right.
especially in tier two and tier three cities. So they would also need to have some of these kind of skills or tools at hand. So is there a plan to probably expand this tech ecosystem, put it into an app so that whenever the agent is speaking to a consumer, they can not only get the entire detail of the consumer journey but also get the kind of soft nudges that you just spoke about?
Yeah. So that's in plan. We've doing a pilot with 250 odd people. So that's in plan.
Okay, that's a very interesting thing. And you also use AI for triaging, right?
Yeah.
So, agentic journeys, performance marketing. Where have you seen AI already deliver measurable productivity? Because these days everyone is talking about AI, but after the recent situation where there was a meltdown in the stock exchanges, everyone is talking about the fact that is AI an expensive experiment. So where are you seeing some kind of tangible benefits?
See, on the marketing side, a lot of creative generation today um, is is backed by AI, and that the productivity per employee has gone up. If I were to look at the economics of it, if we were to get done through agency on retainer, the economics for the AI stack is much better, and of course there is time spent and the number of artworks, in a manner of speaking, can one creative guy in my team produce compared to what was happening earlier. So that is one place where we've seen success. The other place that we've seen success in our business is ability to shorten the adjudication time window. So as we get claims, um, basically what happens when you get a claim, you almost do a VLOOKUP on the claim, on the policy, on medical protocols, and tariff with the hospital. And this A union, B union, C union, D essentially gives you an instant result. But because it is done by a human being, we always had predictive analytics, but it is still goes through a maker checker, right? But now we've got to a point where we are very comfortable with the generative AI and the large language models to give us this answer to us within 5 to 8 seconds. So something that used to take close to about 15 minutes with predictive analytics is now taking us 5 8 seconds, and we are very very comfortable. So that's another. So if you, it's almost like you order something on Blinkit or any other platform, you immediately, or let's say you order something on Zomato, you immediately see, I know restaurant has received your order is getting prepared. How beautiful will it be for a consumer that if he puts a claim, immediately he sees that your claim is under process, and within 2 minutes it's approved or not approved. And if not approved, then citation. Why was it not approved? Because sometimes the customers don't understand why was this not approved in the first place. So you're claiming for 20 lakh, your policy is 10 lakh. This simple explanation could make a big difference for consumer. And if the same explanation is given after 2 days, he'll be angry or she'll be angry. So speed of adjudication is another big use case that we've seen. The third use case is around fraud and early detection of fraud. This industry is riddled with one is the leaking pot around medical inflation. The second leaking point is around fraud that takes the value away from the policyholder and also from the company. And how can we pick up fraud is another big element that we've seen success on. Um, any investigation that we trigger, 50% of it is fraud. That's a one out of two cases that we investigate turn out to be fraud. And that's where the real value of AI and leveraging the stack is helping us. What I've not seen good success on a complete agentic ecosystem doing end-to-end closure. This comfort that the human confusion or incompetence that brings in has some magic, because people hate, even if I'm giving the best answer and I'm a bot, it doesn't matter, my IQ doesn't matter. Because I'm a bot, the other person is not listening to me. And if I'm incompetent and if I'm saying, sir, sorry, I'll have to check with my boss, I don't know this, he's still happy. So this magic of human warmth in a outbound sales is something that we haven't seen great traction on. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. There are places where it's working well, there are places where uh, either they are overhyped or we'll have to do more things with them.
So, as a last question, Nimish, you came from a consumer tech company to, which is more creative. There is a lot one can play from a creative aspect to a highly regulated industry. How easy or difficult was that as a marketeer for you? And, what were some standout points for you?
See, initial first 6 9 months, I was wondering whether should I continue to update my Naukri. I used to work for Naukri.com. Should I continue to update my Naukri resume? It's an industry that overwhelms. It's a largely push-driven industry, and I was shocked when I got to know that every creative has to be filed with the regulator. And I've not worked in a regulated industry before, so I was like, every creative, no, every creative, sir. We make 10,000 creatives, and all creatives have to be filed with the regulator, and all translation have to have the sign off from the CMO. As I started meeting people, understanding uh, legal cases that we lose and legal cases that we win, I realized there's a reason why there's a regulator. And it is important that the regulator is, and it's great that the regulator is doing a fantastic job, because uh, it's a very different industry. I used to work for a biscuit company. If the biscuit goes bad, it goes bad. It can't be compared to somebody who has their loved one in a hospital, and the doctor has asked for 5 lakh rupees to be deposited at the counter right now. How many Indians would have 5 lakh rupees lying around? And the element of empathy and the element of speed, that at 2 o'clock in the night the company gives them that, okay, cashless approved, admit, don't need to pay anything. And can the company send somebody in that hospital in half an hour? I think that makes this industry very unique. How many industries go through this level of friction, human anxiety? I'm not sure. And I have now I'm in love with this industry. The amount of social impact, and my parents are doctors, and one of the biggest regret that they have that I didn't become a doctor. I'm of course not a doctor, but I think we do reasonable amount of social good. It's the best kept secret, because people only see a claim that has been denied. For every claim that is denied, there are 97 claims that are passed without any hiccup. But we are a country that doesn't, we're not good at complimenting. We're great at critiquing, and it's okay. Are there places where we can raise the bar? 100%. But I'm very happy where we are. I'm very happy where the consumer is, because consumer has to hold us accountable, and the regulator has to ensure that there is transparency. So it's a very interesting point in time in the insurance ecosystem. The amount of news that I see in media around insurance, good, bad, all kinds, has never been in the past. That gives me great confidence that I've taken a good career decision. I feel great that we are doing some meaningful work for the countrymen. And I think what we are doing, if we continue to do it, not just as a company, but as an industry, the country will be better off. The country, one of the biggest strength that we have is people, healthy people, is assumed in it. If people are not healthy, very soon they become a liability, as we realized in COVID.
Very true. And as Japan, China, and several other countries also realizing right now. Well, thank you so much, Nimish. And I hope that you keep raising that bar. Uh, higher and higher as you fall more and more in love with this particular industry. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to
Pleasure
Campaign.
speaking.
So if you like the video, here's what you need to do. Click like, follow, and subscribe our channel. Hit the bell icon right below. And more importantly, drop us your comments. So go on, do your thing.